So welcome everybody. It's great to see you all here. Enterprise Homes is really proud to be here this morning to celebrate this groundbreaking and to share this with many great partners. Together we are going to transform this property into a beautiful new community for people from all walks of life. Today is the culmination of several years of working with all people here, out there, and people that we don't even know. There were so many people that worked hard to make this happen. We are all putting into practice the words of James Rouse. What ought to be can be with the will to make it so. And that's ultimately what it takes is will. Everything can follow after that, but you've got to have the will to make it so. And we had the will to come to this area and create something wonderful within this community. And it's also fitting, and I can't believe it took me till today to just kind of remember that again, but the Mondawmin Mall that is behind us was developed by Jim Rouse at the Rouse Company in the mid-50s. So the world is round, and it's great to be back here again. As you know, Jim Rouse also created Enterprise, so it's full circle, and I'm really pleased to be able to celebrate that as well. The development of Metro Heights really required vision, cooperation, and resources. And because of everybody's cooperation, we will have a brand new apartment community for 70 families and a beautiful new state-of-the-art building that will signal to the rest of the world that Mondawmin is a great neighborhood.
Yeah!
You'll be hearing from our honored guest today, and then we will dig the ceremonial shovels to commemorate the beginning of the new community at the top of the hill. I'm told this is the highest point in this area, which is fabulous. And for those of you in the audience that can see where the trees don't block your view, you will see downtown. And you're only on the first floor. So wait till we get to the fourth floor. There are many really great opportunities in this community. There's shopping, retail, the biggest and best park in Baltimore City, and the new Parks and People headquarters that's kind of behind there, and which is a great headquarters. It's really doing fabulous work in this community and around the city. I am a board member, so full disclosure, but really just pleased of what they've been able to do there. And we're at a major transportation hub. I believe there are any number of buses that gather here. There's also the metro that's here. You'll be able to see all this traffic behind me where I'm standing. And I know that one of the things that we really want to do is to be able to improve the traffic pattern that occurs here at Reisterstown Road and Liberty Heights Avenue. So we'll be looking for a lot of help on that, and hopefully people will step forward and we can really make a big difference there, because this is something that needs to be done to really make this a much more livable community. I want to thank everybody for helping make the vision a reality, and I want to Charles Connor is here representing Senator Van Hollen. Charles Connor, I know there he is. Thank you very much for coming. And I don't know, is Harry Spikes here from Congressman Cummings' office? Okay. Well, I know that the congressman would have loved to have been here, but as you know, he's recovering and recovering well, I think, at this point, so I'm really happy about that. The Mondawmin community is really a strong community and has been incredibly helpful in supporting our efforts to create a vibrant new apartment community here. So I want to recognize some of those people, Jackie Caldwell and the Greater Mondawmin Coordinating Council. The Parks and People Foundation, I know Steve Preston is here. Anybody else from Parks and People? Steve's here, great. Good contingent, thank you. Thanks for all your good work. The Liberty Square Neighborhood Association and Selwyn Shields. This is actually the Liberty Square neighborhood. I know that Mondawmin is the name it gets attached. Why not? Because it's across the street, but it actually has its own identity as Liberty Square. and Frank Lance, who we'll be hearing from shortly, who saw this opportunity first. Baltimore City is really fortunate to have a great new mayor who's spreading her knowledge, her enthusiasm, and her love for Baltimore to improving the quality of life for all of Baltimore. And this will be just one great example. Please join me in welcoming and thanking Mayor Catherine Pugh.
This is so exciting. Everybody knows I live right down the street, not very far. And so I get to come past this every day, and I'm like, okay, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. But Jackie, you have to admit that we have some of the greatest apartment buildings, especially when we talk about senior living in our community, unlike many of the communities in our city. We've done a really good job in this area of making sure that we maintain homes for our seniors. I know that there are many who will get a chance to speak, but I just have to say this because everywhere I go today, I'm going to give a shout out to my President of the City Council for his boldness and for his partnership to make sure that we continue to move Baltimore forward and make it a safe place. Thank you, Mr. President. And I always have to say hello to my other counterpart that sits on the Board of Estimates because we work so hard together. I call us the gruesome threesome. That's Jack and Joan Pratt, our comptroller. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to my Councilman Leon Pinkett, thank you too for holding steadfast with us because it is important that we make our city a safe city. And thank you, Senator Barbara Robinson, for being with us as well. And to all the community groups and organizations, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for believing that we can move our city forward. And I just cannot thank DHCD Deputy Secretary Tony Reed, thank you, who is representing Secretary Holt, our Housing Commissioner, Baltimore City Housing and Community Development Commissioner, Michael Braverman, thank you, who will introduce our Housing Authority person soon. As well as I know Delegate Mosby wants to be with us, and I'm sure he'll where is he? See, you're right on time. Right on time. Delegate Mosby, thank you as well. We have all witnessed the work that the Community Corporation, our mayor's, the Mondawmin Coordinating Council has done, but we've also witnessed the work of Enterprise. I tell you, I cannot be more happy to have such a partner because Enterprise, everything that they have done has been helping Baltimore to move forward. And I love what we do in Metro Heights. What this is going to be is a LEED Silver Standard building, which means that we're creating a healthier and more energy efficient environment right here in our own community. And I say our community again because this is on my running route to the park. I'm so proud to share that the Housing Authority of Baltimore is working closely with Enterprise Homes to create innovating new housing options for the elderly and homeless. Of the 70 units, you all should know this, of the 70 units, 11 units will be designated for low-income residents. And 7 units will be designated to individuals or families who are chronically homeless. Let me tell you why that's important. We have a homeless problem in our city, and we've got to fix it. Because if we don't, then it contributes to pushing Baltimore backwards and not forward. And so we are committed in this administration to make sure that we're accommodating every aspect of our community. We've got to create homes for the homeless. I'm just so glad that people are hearing me when I talk about how important that is because we cannot have people sleeping on our streets. The other day I got an opportunity, Chicky, to visit a camp that is being propped up by St. Vincent Paul, along with Parks and Recreation. Over 100 young people who are homeless, young people homeless, that they're making sure that we're feeding them, taking care of them. But this is better than just a program. This is about family and making sure that people have a place to live. More broadly, Commissioner Braverman and the Baltimore City DHCD are working with developers like Enterprise because what they're actually doing is revitalizing our city. And I'm seeing it in different pockets all around our neighborhoods. I heard somebody say the other day, don't go to West Baltimore. I say, come to West Baltimore. We got the best transportation system right across from us. We've got neighborhoods and communities. And the other thing that I continue to say is that people don't realize that we've got folks inside these neighborhoods who have invested, who have lived here over 40 years, not going anywhere, and they deserve the same thing that everybody else deserves. Yes. Decent living conditions, safe neighborhoods, well lit, parks right, I mean, it doesn't get park right across the street. DHCD has conveyed approximately 1 acre of vacant and abandoned land to this project, to Enterprise. The city provided $1.25 million in home loans to finance a portion of this hard construction cost. Together we share a deep commitment and desire to transform neighborhoods and to invest in some of our low income neighborhoods. And I want to make it real clear, this is not necessarily a low income neighborhood, because I don't think you could tell Jackie that. And I don't think you can tell can't tell me that. I'm up the street, okay? So it brings me great pride to partner with Enterprise Homes to create safe and healthy housing options for Baltimore families. I want to thank you, and I want to thank our community groups and organizations for rallying around this. And our Reverend that we'll hear from soon has been one of those real rallying cries in this neighborhood. So thank you for partnering. More importantly, let's continue to work together to transform Baltimore and to continue to move our city forward. Thank you.
Wow, she's just great. We are so lucky. And I wanted to add to something that the mayor said about the health and housing. There's somebody who has designated housing as a vaccine to help create healthier people. And it's true. If you have good quality housing at your base that you can count on day in and day out, then you have a platform from which to grow from. So we'll help, this community will be one of those vaccines. So the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development is a critical partner in developing quality, affordable housing in the state. Led by its great leader, Ken Holt, the department has committed the necessary funds that we need to make Metro Heights a reality. And behind the state's funding are some very dedicated people who work constantly to ensure quality housing. So I know a lot of those people are back at work making sure that the next project gets done, but there are a couple people here, so I just want to recognize all of the people that have worked hard, and then you guys can go back and tell them that we recognize the great work that they do. So actually I want to thank Tiffany Robertson, who's not at the department anymore. She's moved up to work for the governor, but she was very helpful in the early stages of this development. John Manaville, Elaine Cornick, Brian O'Toole, Ed Sims, who's out there. Woo-hoo! Let's give him a shout. We can take that clap back. Honora Suter and Sterling Brown. And I'm also pleased to introduce Tony Reed, who is the Deputy Secretary for the Maryland Department of Housing, who will speak on behalf of Ken Holt today.
All right, good morning. I bring you greetings on behalf of Governor Larry Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, and Secretary Ken Holt, who couldn't be here today. It's a pleasure to be here to celebrate with you. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our partners, Enterprise, Baltimore City, SunTrust Bank, Bellwether Enterprise, Real Estate Capital, Marks Thomas, Archetype, Zinger Sneed, Gallagher, Evelis and Jones, which is the legal team, Hawkins Builders, which is the general contractor, and Metro Heights Limited Partnership. Every day, across the entire state, we are working towards Governor Larry Hogan's #1 goal is to change Maryland for the better, to provide the resources and expertise, and importantly, customer service to improve Maryland communities, towns, and cities. Metro Heights at Mondawmin will provide affordable rental housing for working families and individuals with special needs here in Baltimore City, and the state was proud to be a partner in this wonderful project. The department committed $2 million in loans for rental housing fund, an allocation of $1.5 million in 9% federal low-income housing tax credits with an estimated equity value of $16 million. We were proud to partner in the financing of this production of this safe, decent, and affordable rental housing. During Governor Hogan's administration, the apartment level of rental housing production has significantly increased. In fiscal year 2015, we supported 30 projects with a total cost of approximately $594 million. We created or preserved 2,600 units in 13 counties and in Baltimore City, and these projects created 2,800 jobs. In fiscal year 2016, we supported 44 projects with a total cost of nearly $900 million, and we produced 4,600 new units across the state in 12 counties and in Baltimore cities, and these projects created 4,500 jobs. For fiscal year 17, we recently announced the award of the department's latest competitive application round for low-income housing tax credits and state rental housing funds. The department selected 20 projects to receive nearly $20 million in rental housing funds and nearly $28 million in federal low-income housing tax credits. That was amazing. These awards are the largest amount awarded in a single competitive application round and demonstrates the Hogan administration commitment to supporting affordable rental housing development across Maryland and in Baltimore City. It's transformative moment for Baltimore, and we are working towards committing communities throughout Baltimore through Project CORE. Project CORE, or Creating Opportunities for Renewal and Enterprise, is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar partnership between the state and Baltimore City to demolish vacant and derelict buildings in Baltimore and replace them with green space that can serve as parkland or as a foundation for redevelopment. In January 2016, after extensive input from the community and stakeholders and advocates throughout Baltimore, we launched Project CORE to assist in removing the blight in Baltimore City. Once we have all of this demolition that is completed, the department will invest $600 million for projects in these communities through a range of well-established programs: affordable rental housing development through low-income housing tax credits, the multifamily bond program, and the rental assistance demonstration program. We will assist small businesses through the Neighborhood Business Works program, and we will increase neighborhood revitalization through programs like Community Legacy and Baltimore Regional Neighborhood Initiative. Through Project CORE redevelopment, whether it's creating parks or supporting small businesses, we are encouraging home ownership and financing critical affordable rental housing projects like Metro Heights. We will continue to strengthen our neighborhoods and partnerships with Baltimore residents. It is important that you know that I'm excited, and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development is leading the effort to improve communities throughout the city, because we know that a better Baltimore means a better Maryland. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to assist Baltimore, and also to let you know that the state is really behind what Baltimore does to improve communities and improve the lives of its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look to the state for the great help that they provide and really appreciate it. The Baltimore City Council, they provide all the necessary approvals and support to help this development become a reality. So without their support, we wouldn't be here today. So let's give a big welcome to City Council President Jack Young.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and her team for always being there to make sure these projects move through smoothly. I want to thank the community. If this don't work out, we know that Jackie and her team will be all over us. So we got to make sure, we try to make sure that we do all the right things. I want to recognize my colleague, Councilman Leon Pinkett, my former colleague, Nick Mosby, Delegate Nick Mosby, and of course our Senator, Senator Robertson. And the third part of the puzzle on the Board of Estimates, Comptroller Joan Pratt. Because these things don't work without the Board of Estimate as well. But I really want to thank Chicky and Enterprise. Not only do they do work here on the west side, they're in Southwest, they're in East Baltimore. We just recently did a project on Greenmount Avenue, right on Greenmount and North. So I want to thank you, Chicky and Enterprise, for just having the vision and carrying on Mr. Rouse's vision for affordable housing for people. I live in a house, well, I don't live there anymore, my daughter's there, and I always tell this story. Mr. Rouse thought enough of Baltimore that he wanted to build some affordable housing in East Baltimore. And I was lucky enough to purchase one of those homes that my daughter lives in today. So I'm grateful to the vision of Mr. Rouse. You know, he was a great visionary, and his vision is still moving forward through Chicky Grayson and the Enterprise Foundation. So again, I want to thank everyone for your steadfastness in making sure that we as council members do our job, so that you can do your jobs, so that we can have a safe and vibrant city where we all can live in safe communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you again for your support. The City Comptroller, Joan Pratt, is the overseer of the city. Yes, you can. You certainly can.
Yeah, because, you know, I don't like to leave nobody out, because I don't like to be left out. And I want to personally thank Dr. Franklin Lance for his hard work up in here in this part of the neighborhood. Because I know that his vision is for a project that's down the street. And we're going to try to make sure that we work together and help him out as well. You always have to give people credit where credit is due. And I would have been remiss if I didn't mention him. Thank you, Chicky.
Thank you, and we are going to hear from Reverend Lance in a few minutes. Again, Joan Pratt, our city comptroller. She's overseeing all the funds that get spent, and she does a great job with her staff. And I wanted to thank Walter Horton, who's here today, Ted Lassiter, and Kevin Gallagher for overseeing the getting us through the Board of Estimates process. So please join me in welcoming City Comptroller Joan Pratt.
Good morning, Mayor Pugh, President, Council Jack Young, other elected officials, friends, and guests. And on behalf of Baltimore's families, I applaud the continuous hard work as well as the determination that is bringing us Metro Heights at Mondawmin. This transit-oriented development will be a welcome addition and a great benefit to this community and our city as a whole. And in addition to this location being a great transportation hub, we have across the street a mall that has a great supermarket, other retail shopping, and we're in close proximity, walking distance to Druid Hill Park. This venture is a demonstration of everything that is positive about our city and what we can accomplish working together for a better Baltimore. Chicky Grayson and Enterprise Homes, Maryland and Baltimore City, Department of Housing, SunTrust, and everyone involved in this development, you are commended for your willingness to keep Baltimore thriving and for your belief in our city. Baltimore continuously incorporates both progress and preservation in our efforts to sustain this city and keep Baltimore relevant. This wide-ranging support of developers and people with a personal stake in Baltimore is inspiring and deeply appreciated. So, Chicky, best wishes and much continued success are extended to Enterprise Homes here at Metro Heights and in your future endeavors. And thank you for everything that you do for Baltimore City.
Thank you. We couldn't do it without you, so everybody here is very important. Everybody is a piece of the puzzle, and it's a big puzzle, and it's a complicated puzzle. The Mondawmin area is really fortunate to be represented by some great elected officials, past and present. So first I'd like to ask Senator Barbara Robinson to come up and say a few words. Right there.
Hello, everybody. You know, I could not come without adding to my excitement about the project that's being built here today in my district. Jackie wouldn't let me not enjoy my own excitement. Because you can stay here and not move out. This is from kindergarten to college, right in this district. And you can also enjoy the park, and you can enjoy across the street. It gives my heart pleasure to be able to be a part of this. And when you bring up people like Nick Mosby, who was a part of this with the city council and now a part of my team as the senator in this district, and when you look at all of the things that are actually happening, affordable housing for 70 families, and with parking, and with all the amenities that go along with it. So I just say thank you so very, 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 very much for making our neighborhood one of the best, continually being one of the best in the city. And Chicky, you are doing a fantastic job, and I think Enterprise Homes, I just think this entire project. Thank you.
Thank you. And one of the elected officials that actually was on the city council representing this district while we were in the early stages of the development and is now a state representative is Nick Mosby, and his early support for our urban renewal to amend the urban renewal plan was really critical. So I'd like to welcome Delegate Nick Mosby.
Good afternoon. So I'll never forget when I got to the council, we were looking around our district trying to figure out where we could do new development in West Baltimore, and this spot always came up on the conversation. Whether it was with new developers, whether it was with community members, whether it was with even me and my internal staff. And we talked everything about from recreation centers to developers coming in talking about potentially a methadone clinic to other types of development here. I remember having conversations with Pastor Lance at the time. And I was kind of finishing up my term on the city council, and it was one of those things that was on the whiteboard that never got accomplished until Cheeky walked in. And I remember when she walked in and she started talking about this idea to put this complex right here on this corner, I said, that's it. It was right. Madam Mayor was right from the start. You had a developer who was socially conscious, that understood that she didn't just want to create a bricks and mortar building to fit on this blank land, that she wanted to do something that would connect with the community. It's a transit-oriented design, so they called it Metro Heights. Unfortunately, a lot of low-income, affordable housing complexes, we just call them random names. We'll call it Ricerstown and Liberty Heights. We'll call it Mondawmin. We don't think about the context of what that development does to the community. So this particular project, how Jackie is extremely excited because now we will eliminate the blight, how the mall will be excited because they'll have regular new customers, how we all look at the bricks and mortars and get excited, just the ecstatic view of it. I think about the single mother who will be here. The single mother who has transportation right across the street to ensure that she gets to work and has the opportunity to kind of grow and thrive in whatever industry she's in. That will have a brand new school that's going to be built less than a half a mile away from this location. We'll have a park to take her child to in Jordan Hill Park. We'll have a supermarket to go to and shoppers. This is the right design at the right time, and it's because of folks like Cheeky and Enterprise, and because of the private-public partnership of the mayor, city council, and the state folks that we have this. This is what we need more and more and more in Baltimore, and I know under the mayor's leadership we'll continue to do that. So again, thank you, Enterprise, thank you, Cheeky, but you got it right.
Thank you, and I want to be very clear about this. This is not Chicky. I appreciate it, but it's Enterprise Homes. It's everybody at Enterprise that works so hard. I sold it to you. It's true, and I actually recall that conversation. And I appreciate it. And you were like, so what's the issue? This sounds good. So, but it was great, and it's great to have that kind of support. You don't always have that when you start talking about affordable housing. So we really, really appreciate it and your enthusiasm. Leon Pinkett, okay. got some background noise here, is the newly elected councilman from this district. But he's not new to this community or to this city. He was an early supporter and helped us get through the process while he was in the former mayor's office. So he was critical to our gaining the rest of the city support that we needed. So please join me in welcoming Councilman Leon Pinkett.
Good morning. I know that this individual has already been acknowledged, but I would be remiss not to acknowledge him again. Council President Young, obviously he represents the entire city, but he goes above and beyond to make certain that he could use the power of his office, he could use the presence of his office to overshadow any work that we do as individual council persons. But he goes above and beyond to make certain that we as council people get an opportunity to shine as it relates to projects that happen in our district. And so I just want to acknowledge Council President Young again and thank him, because he doesn't get the credit that he really deserves on projects. Things that happen in this city, the good things don't happen without his input. And so if you would, I just want to acknowledge Council President. So I want to commend and thank Enterprise Homes for their continued investment in communities throughout Baltimore, especially West Baltimore. Quality affordable housing, and I stress quality affordable housing. We often talk about affordable housing, but we don't stress that quality part, is one of Baltimore's greatest needs and greatest challenges. And Metro Heights, with its 70 units of new, high-quality affordable housing, is a much-needed project in a community that needs this level of housing the most. This project in particular is very special to me in that, in my short time on the council, we've had openings and we've had announcements, but this is my first groundbreaking. So I'm extra excited. This will be one that is very memorable. Now, I might not hold it, in comparison to my first child, but Metro Heights, you're pretty close. No, I can't tell my daughter that. Most people don't have the benefit of insight into the development process, and unfortunately can't appreciate the work and risk that goes into a development long before any dirt is moved or anything that looks like a building starts coming out of the ground. And I'm fortunate that prior to the council, I had the opportunity to work in various levels of government behind the scenes. And so I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge these three individuals who I believe that without their presence, without their work, without their stick-to-itiveness, that this project would not have happened. And so I want to acknowledge first Ned Howe from Enterprise. Because we see, now I've kind of got elevated to a place where I can take credit for stuff I don't do. And so I want to acknowledge the people who really do the work. And so Ned, thank you, Ned, kudos to you. And then two individuals, I didn't see them, but I think they still bear, and we have Delegate Antonio Hayes joined us as well, that I want to acknowledge two individuals on Director Braverman's staff, Julie Day and Wendy Redfern. And if we can just acknowledge them in their absence, because you need people in the private sector, but you also need people in the public sector that help get these things done. And I know that I probably have not named some others, but I know that those were three people that I work closely with and know the labor that they put into this. And so for me, as I said, this project is so special. And especially in light of the fact that 2 years ago, when the unrest started, just a block away from this site, and others were reconsidering their investment in Baltimore, Enterprise recognized that their investment was even more critical and didn't run from this project or this community, but were even more committed to getting this project done. So I want to say this in closing, and I think I have the support of Pastor Lance and Jackie and Donna and all the others, Steve and everybody else from the community. Not that we want to redevelop the community, Madam Mayor, but we really want you to have the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing jogging course. So if with your help, we want this to be the capstone of creating the Madam Mayor Pugh jogging course as we redevelop not just this site, but going that way and that way. And we really just want you to have the best place where you can jog. Yeah, and so if you could help us, help you, yes. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This community is really lucky to have a great councilman. I see that Delegate Antonio Hayes is there. And would you like to come up and say anything? Come say a few words. Come on. He came through our office about a few months ago, and we were able to show him what we were trying to do here, and so really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you, Chicky, and thank you, everybody, for being here. I see all the community people, and this is such a great thing for the Mondawmin community. You know, I remember as a kid going to Lamel Middle School and catching the buses over here at Mondawmin Metro. A lot has changed in the community, but a lot of the faces that are putting in the work to make sure that this is a vibrant community continue. Here in the Mondawmin community, you could go from pre-K to a PhD at Coppin State University. And so it's a community that it represents the best of Baltimore. So thank you, Chicky, Enterprise, Madam Mayor, Councilman, and my colleagues in the state who have put a lot of work into this. And what a good job. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And you all are looking downtown. And I hope that you can see downtown, the skyline of Baltimore. Those of us sitting up here are looking at a lot of green. It's really a fabulous, fabulous community. Not only do you have the green from Druid Hill Park, but then you've got all the green over there that goes all the way out in West Baltimore, and it's just really a fabulous community. I wanted to talk about the Baltimore City Department of Housing and Community Development. That department provided the resources and the cooperation that we needed to make this happen. And I want to thank a lot of people that aren't here, but I hope that they will hear that they were acknowledged. Jim Majors, Julie Day, Wendy Redfern, Tony Badon, Angie Ennis, Joe Kirshner, Bill Bergey, and Alan Sun for working with us through a lot of challenges. Thank you all. And I also want to acknowledge, and I think that Michael's going to talk about Janet Abraham, who is going to be the new head of public housing in Baltimore. So just take a stand. Thank you. Happy to have you here. Michael Braverman is a very smart, thoughtful person who has really dedicated his working life to Baltimore City. So I don't think we could do he's the best. So please join me in welcoming Michael Braverman.
Thank you, Chicky. Good morning, everybody. I know I'm at the end of the program, but there's, so I'm going to try and just only repeat a couple of names, especially the folks that worked hard on our city side, and hit the high points. I wanted to say at the beginning that this is a great morning and an extraordinary moment. Lots of us in this room, especially Jackie and others, know where we're standing and what those vacant and abandoned houses were like for years on these sites, and probably what that vibrant community was like before that. So we are standing here at a trending moment, right? It isn't just, if we just sort of do the time lapse back and what it was, the vacant and abandoned houses and all the work that the city did to prepare a site for development. And then everybody sitting in this room, which is what it takes to get affordable housing done, with Enterprise and Chicky riding herd on all of us to get it to happen. But everybody in this room, it's as to repeat, Chicky, the puzzle pieces, that's how many different moving parts it takes to get affordable housing going. Everybody on the podium, everybody has played a role. That's how many people it takes to get it done. That's why we're thanking so many people, right? And so and at the end of the day, there'll be an outstanding building here that will house there'll be 70 units, and it'll be mixed income, be affordable housing. It won't just be affordable housing, it'll be quality affordable housing. The kind of housing, and this is where I'll speak for the mayor a minute, the kind of quality housing that makes people proud to be home and makes a community proud to have that building as an asset in that community. And that's the end product and the outcome from all the work that everybody's doing here. And it won't just be affordable. There will also be deeply affordable units. And for the deeply affordable units, we really have to thank the Housing Authority of Baltimore City. And and it's the team here that I'm going to call out that's with Janet Abrahams. No one's happier than me to have Janet Abrahams here. And I want you to stand again. I'm so sorry, Janet. It's like, yeah, thank you so much. She's down from New York, where she worked at the New York City Housing Authority, where you kind of get more experience in a day than you can get in a year or two in other smaller housing authorities. Not that we are one of the really smaller ones. We are one of the top 10 in the country. So thank you, Janet. When I go off script, I really miss forgetting to thank Corliss. So Corliss, I have to just thank you now and for all the times that I forgot to thank you. Because at the end of the day, when there's a housing choice voucher in the deal, Corliss and her team are making it happen. And so I'm going to shout out the individual names as well, as long as I'm reaching out to you. Arlene here, Arlene Ramsey, and Norman Young. Thank you guys so much. And the inimitable Nick Calais, who is not here at the moment, I don't think. So, in addition to all our elected officials, I'm trying to do this with maybe half the passion that Nick brought to it, as that would be like, you know, a reasonable goal. To our controller Joan Pratt and our city council president Jack, you know, if I turn my phone off, my kids will say, "What about Jack? Can he get a hold of you?" And I'm like, I gotta go in the shower sometimes, you know. So and Senator Robinson and Delegate Hayes, and of course, Madam Mayor, thank you for this opportunity to transform Baltimore together. If we think about not just this site, there were 20. This is a nice 1-acre site. It was a series of row homes that we just reflected on how they became vacant and boarded, and how DHCD worked to get those properties demolished to eliminate that blight. But how that then turned into a development opportunity that was seized on. But think about it. There are all of these 25-foot wide lots that have to get turned into a development opportunity. And that means that some lawyers are going to have to get to work, and there's going to have to be a lot of work getting acquisition and ground rents and title and consolidating it. And so forgive me to repeat the shout out to Julie Day, Wendy Redfern, Peggy Webster, Joe Kirshner, Tony Badon, Bill Bergey, and Angie Ennis for making all that happen. And then to the wizard, Jim Majors, who never shows up. But at the end of the day, there's home money to help make a deal like that happen, in addition to the contributions from the state that the affordable housing opportunities wouldn't happen without. And of course, $22 million, which is the total development cost, I think, in this deal, Chicky. So with that, I just wanted to give another shout out to our state partners, because really, Project Core is an integral part of what brings the kind of resources here to make those numbers, the state in all of their programmatic activity and Project Core. And if we just think for a minute what's going to be here, look across the street. Everybody remembers before Parks and People renovated that building, what it looked like across the street. So we have an extraordinary asset across the street. If you just run up Reisterstown Road to Park Circle, $5 million at least of streetscape improvements will be coming out of the ground at Park Circle probably in the coming months. And then we just take our vision over to the park again and think about if there's going to be a little inconvenience. But on the other end of the inconvenience, there's going to be some extraordinary assets in the park, which is continuing to grow. And we have just reached an award for the land at Druid Park Lake Drive on the other side of the park, and we will have an extraordinary mixed-use building coming out of the ground there. So it's not just where we are today, but where we stand in a trend line. And for that, we have everyone in this room to thank. Now, I've gone off script, so I probably forgot to thank somebody. And for that, I apologize. But I'm looking at Jackie Caldwell, and to Jackie and the members of the community, there's so much more to do, and we are looking forward to doing it together.
And I want you to help us do it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that, Jackie. I really am. So with that, thank you, Chicky.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Really, really appreciate it, and the great work that you and your staff have done here in the city. I want to also acknowledge Dr. Sam Ross, who's here from Bon Secours. It's been a great partner and a great partner with the city as well. The puzzles for putting this development would not be complete without our important partner, SunTrust. And they are providing the construction loan and the permanent financing as well as the equity. And I want to acknowledge Roxanne Nichols, and I know Steve Smith. I know I saw him earlier. He's somewhere. He's a tall guy, so there he is, sitting down. That's why I couldn't see him. And Nora Vahayanis. How's that, Nora? Where is Nora? Nora's going to come up and say a few words. There she is.
Thank you, Chicky. That was good.
Close.
Yeah, close. On behalf of my colleagues at SunTrust, I congratulate Enterprise Homes for its vision, its leadership, and dedication. As so many people have said, putting a deal like this together has many, many moving pieces, and it's no small task. Thank you for making this good idea a reality. SunTrust Community Capital is pleased and proud to be a participant in the team of public and private partners. We are providing the construction loan and tax credit investment to this development project. Through partnerships like this one, SunTrust makes loans and investments in affordable housing and community development projects throughout the bank's footprint, which is primarily the Southeast. Baltimore is a particularly important market for us, and as a lifelong resident, a particularly important project for me.
Yay.
We look forward to seeing how this development project continues to ignite change in this community. Thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for all of your support. There are many people and organizations, and you've heard a few, but we've got a few more that we really need to thank, because really you can hear how many people are involved in this. I've never counted. I don't think I want to count. But, you know, I think that it's important because people work really hard to make something like this happen, and I think that their work really reflects who they are and appreciate all that they have done. So I'd like to thank Harkins Builders, who's doing the construction here, Omar Black, Mark Callahan, David Griffin, Greg Baranchak, and Dan Wickham. Special shout out to you for making this site and every site that we do ready for groundbreaking. That is not easy. Yeah. And I see Gary Garfalo is here, so thank you for coming, and thanks for all the good work that you do in leading your team. Marks Thomas Architects, they are going to be, they've designed a really beautiful building, and I want to thank Magda Westerhout and Nancy Liebrecht, who spent many hours with us getting it right, and Ziegler Sneed and Steve Zig for also providing their assistance on the exterior and spending even more hours helping to get it right. Colbert Matz and Rosenfeld, our civil engineers, Bob Rosenfeld, Andy Katz, Tom Hoffman, and Lisa Junker. They're helping, and they do this all the time because sites are typically tight. You don't typically in a city have a lot of land to work with, and you certainly don't have extra space. So thank you for helping work out everything in a very tight space. To our great attorneys at Gallagher, Villas and Jones, some of them aren't here, some of them are, Kirsten Walpert, Allison Friedman, Ben Rubin, and Saul Gilstein and Nita Schultz. Thank you all for the great work that you do in keeping us straight and moving forward. I want to thank Habitat, our property management company, for helping us preparing for this. And then I want to thank the Enterprise team. John Bound, who's here, who's on our board, thank you for your guidance. It's really very helpful. It's always good to have people that you can talk to about what's going on and to give you good feedback and help you think through situations. And we have a great board that really is so supportive. So really appreciate that. Charlie Warehane, who's president and CEO of Enterprise Community Investment, and Joe Wesolowski for their great support of our work. And then to Raoul Moore and Philip Porter for their help with the equity financing, and Bellwether Enterprise for their help on the loan side. And now to the people, I also want to acknowledge David Bowers, who's here from Enterprise Community Partners. Thanks for all the great work you do here and in the Mid-Atlantic. And now I want to get to the people at Enterprise Homes. Leon, I really appreciate you pointing out Ned Howe. I think Ned deserves a lot of credit for pursuing this opportunity and taking up the challenge to go find a site in the Mondawmin area. We need to do something in Mondawmin. Thank you. Christine Madigan for her leadership. Rebecca Warrens, who's back there, for helping make the design and the cost work. I hope we got that down now. Ron Wilson, who cares a tremendous amount about this community and this development, and with everyone that he ever works on. So thank you, Ron, for we tore all his hair out. What can I say? Denise LeComte for keeping us all together. Gary Hanley, Kathy Wanacke, Joyce Sisson, and to Shell Rich for their help, and to Linda Galati, Andrea Russell, Vicki John, Suzanne, Naima White, and Bill Wright for pulling this event together. Thank you all very much. So our final person to hear from today, and you've already heard a lot about him, he's a very quiet but powerful person in his own right, and that is Reverend Frank Lance. He's a lifelong resident of Baltimore. He's a senior pastor at the Mount Lebanon Baptist Church, which is right down the street here, and he has made this community one of his great passions. And he actually identified this site as an area of possibility and graciously supported Metro Heights in that process. So we are blessed that he is here, and he will now bless this new community. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Lance. And a Forest Park alumni.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Madam Mayor, City Council President Young, Madam Controller Chicky, dignitaries, invited guests. Let me welcome you all to the greater Mondawmin community. We affirm this is the greatest community in Baltimore City. That's right. Where our very vocal Jackie Caldwell is our president. So you heard Chicky say that I pastor a church that's one block from here, and so we're proud to say that we're grateful for what's taking place here, but this is not all. This community is changing in great ways, and we're grateful for all that's taking place. I've been asked to bless this ground and the edifice that will be erected here, and Chicky and Enterprise, let me just say I'm grateful that a blessing has been included in part of this event, as I do affirm that this building will be a divine harbinger of much needed revival and renewal that's taking place in this city and in this community. I hope that this city brings a stark contrast to despair that we saw, that we witnessed from this place just 2 years ago. Councilman Pinkett alluded to it, but you all would remember in April of 2015, if you stood in this place and looked south, what you saw was despair, what you saw was hopelessness and frustration. Some would say you saw a modern-day valley of dry bones. Now, as we come here today, we no longer look at a place of blight and despair. But what we see right now today is a place of hope. It's a place of joy. We look not at blight, but we look at the future. And so we believe that Metro Heights is a place that then answers the question that was asked of the prophet Ezekiel, can these bones live? We believe that Metro Heights answers that question, because if you would remember from your sacred text, if you would remember, the prophet was told to speak life into the valley and the bones shall live. Metro Heights is speaking life into this valley. And we believe that this place, this edifice will live. It will be a place that will speak life to this corner and this community, to its people and its patrons. It will be a place that will speak life to Metro riders and mall retailers. It will be a place where people can have a true encounter with the divine. And so we are grateful for what will take place in this building. And so as we gather then, we look forward to the future. And we call on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to make Metro Heights a new Bethel. We call on God to make this a place where people who will call it home will find it a divine place of God's presence. We call on God to make this a place where people will feel God's peace and God's power, a place of refuge and of great solace. Therefore, God, as Solomon asked when the temple was built, Solomon asked that God would bless that temple, and we see this as a new modern-day temple. We're asking that God, you bless Metro Heights, you bless this ground, bless its residents, bless the management, bless the Mondawmin community. And we ask that this building serve as an archetype, a modern-day renewal that can change a valley and dry bones into a place where people can truly meet God. And we do affirm that this is just the beginning. You all will come back for other events that we believe that we will call into existence. And so, with that said, we bless this place. We're thankful for what is taking place. We're grateful for all of you who are gathered. And we close with the priestly benediction. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And for all who affirm this blessing, I simply ask that you agree with me in the Semitic word of agreement. Amen.
Wow. That was powerful. So I'm not going to say anything else other than we need to move to the ceremonial groundbreaking where the shovels are. And thank everybody for being here. And we'll see you when we're complete at the ribbon cutting. Thanks again for all your help.
4,